Good afternoon, wizards. How's everybody doing this fine, lovely day? It's a wonderful start to our lovely day. I think I was taking my microphone with me on that adventure, wasn't I? C'est la vie. Well, we're back in action. Welcome back. And we are excited about yet another fantastical Wizard Wednesday. Today is no exception. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's a bright, shining day, and got some exciting updates. It's been a busy week in the community, as it most always is. I'm your willing host, Meeple Dad, today on this March 5th. Today on Wizard Wednesday, we're going to read a little lore because it's been a few too many weeks since we read some lore. After that, maybe, just maybe, some of our friends who got to adventure across the country to Denver may stop in for a little visit and enjoy some of what, or share some of the magic that happened all across Denver for the conference. And then we may even explore the Cult Content Chronicle thereafter. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. So give us just a moment while we pull up the lore. It has been a busy week in the community. We've had Black Sand Pony races rocking on as they do, and a ton of adventures to be had there. If you haven't been participating, once again, it's always a good time. Head on over to the Forgotten Runes Discord, where you'll find links to the game, and you can join in. It's a really fun little Discord game we play. Nothing too dramatic, nothing too crazy. Just a fun, good time had by all. So we've got lore today by our dear friend Virgilus. Virgilus the Sorcerer is one of the community's most epic and prolific storytellers. Enchanter Tengusis of the Quantum Downs is, by basically every measure, one of the most fleshed out characters in the entire Runiverse. Today's story comes from page 70 of Tengusis's lore. So if you want to follow along, I've just posted it in the Secret Tower, and we're going to dive in. This, I was chatting with Virgilus just the other night, actually, just talking about sort of how he sees creative storytelling and why he loves writing lore. And him and I shared a lot about how we sort of use the lore of our characters as a way to explore ideas or archetypes or thoughts. And this entry is no exception. This is called Chapter 3, The Village by, Chapter 4, The Bride. That's where we're reading from today. And this is set in Kaiju Clan area. So a lot of Virgilus's pieces sort of from perspective of Tengusi, but maybe work with other characters. So today we read Chapter 4, The Bride. The Kaiju Clan sat in a shadowed corner of the tavern, gathered around the heavy wooden table as thick and weathered as the secrets that hung in the air. The roaring, crackling fire behind them, its warmth a fleeting comfort against the chill that had settled in as the sun slipped beneath the horizon. The winds from the sea howled through the village, whipping across the cliffs and sending gusts of salt and cold into the very bones of the earth. Outside, the dark cloak of night had fallen, swiftly, enveloping Calamore in an eerie silence that only deepened as the evening grew colder. The tavern, once alive with the murmurs and laughters, now stood quiet, an island of muted conversation in a sea of isolation. The oil lamps flickered on the cobblestone streets, feebly in the wind, casting distorted shadows onto the blotted doors of the homes and long shut away from the world. Life, it seemed, had withdrawn from the streets, leaving nothing but a hollow shell behind. Inside the tavern, Kaiju Clan had settled into the dim light, their exhaustion from the travel now soothed by a meal of hearty stew warmed over the hearth. The rich broth, thick with chunks of meat and hens, had been sopped up by crusty bread. Wola, the smallest of them, had devoured 2 helpings before anyone else had even finished their first. His green-scaled fingers were slick with the remnants of the meal as he licked them clean, his cobalt metabolism demanding the excess. His sharp eyes darted about them, always alert, even in the warmth of the fire's glow. At the head of the table, Gruff, the fur gnome, watched the clan, his patience unshaken as the stone cliffs outside. He waited in silence as they finished their meal, eyes narrowed in thought, before finally speaking. His low voice, almost conspiratorial. I think you must understand where you are above all else, Gruff began, his words barely above a whisper, as though he feared someone or something might overhear. The archipelago is the spine that protects the mainland from battering waves, howling winds, and unpredictable weather. It's a land forged by struggle. This island is known as Kokix, the last island in a long chain, and the first to be settled long ago. Now it's forgotten, save for the stubborn farmers and fishermen who still call it home. They're too loyal or too cursed to leave. He paused, gathering his thoughts, his eyes flickering to the darkened windows, as if to ensure they weren't being watched. The wind howled louder. And the shadows danced uneasily across the walls. We survive by our sheep and our longhorn cattle, Gruff continued, his voice low rumble. They're famous in this region, though perhaps not for the reasons we'd like. The devil crabs we fish for off the coast, they're known for being dangerous, venomous if you're not careful. But the alchemists, they don't come here anymore. They've moved on to the larger islands where the weather is kinder and the trade richer. The few that remain, too old, too secretive, hiding in their towers and weaving magic that no one understands. The gnome leaned forward, his eyes dark and distant. And then there's the real reason you're here. The Kaiju clan, for all their strength and experience, leaned in closer, drawn to the story that was unfolding, like a moth to the flame. Their faces illuminated by the flickering hearth. His name was Archmagus Azul of the Villa, Gruff murmured. Not an alchemist, no. He was a magician, a man drawn to the Koyaks for its freedom, for the freedom it promised. A chance to explore his magic in a place untouched by the rest of the world. He came with his bride, Vivine, a woman of such beauty and a heart as pure as the sea on a still day. They were happy once. He built a tower far from Calamore, and she would often visit the village, speaking of her love for this new home. She brought light into this place. For a time, Calamore felt like it could breathe. Gruff's voice faltered for a moment, as if it weighed on the memories, as if the weight of the memories threatened to crush him. He cleared his throat and pressed on, his eyes clouded with grief. But then the plague struck. It swept through Calamore, a sickness so vile it left the living just as hollow as the dead. People fell ill, and Vivine grew weak, and before long, she passed. Gruff's words hung in the air like the heavy scent of rot. But Azhal could not accept it. He could not. He brought her back. He raised her from the dead. But in doing so, something monstrous was born. A chill swept through the room, colder than the sea wind, as Gruff's eyes met each of theirs, ensuring they grasped the horror of what he was about to say. Vivine was no longer the woman she had been, he whispered. She was pale, a creature of hunger and madness. One night, we found her in the fields, devouring one of our sheep. Her mouth, her hands stained with blood. She was nothing like the bride we had known. Terrified, we drove her to the cliffs, and there on the edge of the world, she died a second time. Her body torn apart by the rocks below, her soul claimed by the sea. Gruff shuddered at the memory. But Azhal was furious. He swore vengeance. He cursed us and retreated to his tower, never to be seen again. He paused, eyes glistening with a mix of fear and sorrow. 2 years passed, and then the disappearances began. A young girl, gone in the night, her body found the next morning, torn apart and scattered across the pier. A farmer, his body mutilated, left as a warning. Every week, another victim. We heard the pounding at our doors and the clawing at our shutters. We thought it would never end. Gruff's voice dropped into a hoarse whisper. One brave sailor followed the creature back to Azhal's tower. What he found was a nightmare. Azhal had created a monstrous crew of stitched together horror, parts humans, part goblins, part troll, and other beasts. He had pieced them together with his dark magic, using lightning to animate them. They were his vengeance, his broken revenge for his bride he had lost. Gruff swallowed hard, his breath shallow. The attacks, they slowed, but they still came. Calamore was a place of shadows and regret now. The village haunted by its own sins, cursed by the magic Ashal unleashed. And we need your help. The village is damned, and we're too far gone to save ourselves. You are our last hope, Kaijukan. Please help us before we're all lost. The last words hung heavy in the air, thick with the weight of the village's despair. The fire crackled in the hearth, casting those dancing shadows on the wall. And for a moment, there was silence. Then suddenly, a loud smash, a violent crashing sound echoed through the tavern door. The Kaiju clan tensed, their eyes snapped towards the source, and the sound came again louder, deafening this time, clawing against the wood. Someone was outside. The door shuddered as the very village itself had come alive in its terror. Kaiju clan's hands instinctively went to their weapons, ready for what was about to come. Gruff's face had gone pale, his body rigid with fear. It's them, he breathed. They've come. The night outside was alive with madness, and Calamore, in its final breath, was about to reveal its darkest horror. Dun, dun, dun. There we have it. That, again, Enchanter Tangusis of the Quantum Downs. One of the most well-told characters in the entire Runiverse. Just a snippet. So if you haven't had an opportunity to dive into some of Virgilis's lore, each piece is outstanding, as intense as the last. So I was excited to read that one. For now, I was hoping that our dear friend Feckless might join me up on stage and give us a little rundown of the slightly less terrifying, hopefully, and slightly more fun adventures in the wonderful city of Denver, as the adventures of East Denver unfolded. I sent a big box of very cool merch and stuff down to our boys Nalgene and Bear Snake, who were heading up the show, and they handed out some booster packs of cult content trading cards and some Battle Penguin toques, and played some Runes TCG with folks at the booth. But I only saw a couple of little snippets. So, Feckless, welcome to the stage, buddy. How you doing?
What's up, y'all? I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, so last week I did indeed go to Denver. Took a 16-hour road trip from LA, which ended up being quite eventful.
I can't believe you just were like, screw it, let's go. That's the most that's the most wizardly thing I've heard of. That's pure Kobold.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a whole lot going on, so figured I've got a car. It's not that far away. It's pretty far away, but so I drove
lost,
like drove like 11 hours the first day.
Yeah, you lost a tire in the desert.
Yeah, that was the second day of the trip. When I was heading up the Rocky Mountains, slightly distracted by the beauty of the Colorado River and a couple of ducks that were playing in it, hit a rock and lost a tire. Had to be ferried to the nearest town by a nice gentleman named Kevin at the DOT to fill up my spare with air and then drive very slowly to get a new tire for my car that has an irregular bolt pattern in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, made that day a little bit longer, but we ended up getting into Denver. What was it, like Wednesday night? Hung out at a brewery, met Reptar, which was awesome. Kind of just hung out there for a bit and met up with Nalgene and Jitsi as well. And yeah, it was a pretty great time. It went to a Doodles rave after that, which was
Nice.
technically a rave, I guess. There was a DJ and a dance floor, and there were a couple people standing on the dance floor, so that almost counts.
And if it was windy, they might have been like swaying side to side, which could have
Yeah, it's
qualified as
possible.
dancing. Yeah.
Both doors were open, so if there were a breeze, you could have seen some action. Uh, but yeah, there was a few cool people there. Who did we meet up with? Bear was there. Got to meet Finn from Abstract, which was very cool. And then kind of called it early that night as everyone had to set up for the party the following day. But I didn't personally. I didn't really go to the conference myself, like the into the conference hall, because I've been to a few, crypto conferences before, and the real event is never very interesting to me. I did see the booth that Forgotten Runes had, which was awesome. They had like a whole Runiverse setup and Arcane Foundation stuff, a bunch of different merch that you were talking about. So that did seem pretty neat, but I've got all the merch I need, really. So yeah, kind of just hung out in Denver, got some new CDs, and then went to the Wizard Waypoint party, which was
now that party was like a Forgotten Runes / other projects with Wizard in their name collab, or was it all Forgotten Runes?
So if I remember correctly, it was a Forgotten Runes / Ronin and Moku collab party sort of deal.
Nice. So a bunch of familiar faces.
Maybe that was, I think it was the party. Sorry, go ahead.
Bunch of familiar faces, some new Ronin.
Yeah, a bunch of new people from Ronin. I finally got to meet Maddo, which was awesome. Maddo and Sweetbread were there with the Runiverse team. Got a nice little interview from Helen about Bread Friend, so I don't know where that's going, but I guess we'll be able to hear more about Bread Friend, the plush, soon. But yeah, a whole bunch of cool people there. Who was the Collector and Sai, the people that were doing that sweet Forgotten Runes art last week or the week before, were there. So chatted with them a little bit. They've got some really cool plans of different collabs they're going to do with groups and like St. Jude's Children's Hospital as well to like fundraise for a bunch of art sales. So that's very neat people. Yeah, who else? There's a bunch of people there. Mitch was there. I've never met him. Couple other wizards, some people from M Squared and the Edison team, people from the Pixels game. Yeah, just a whole bunch of really, really neat folks that we talked about games and wizards all night.
That's fantastic. I saw some like a little bit of video and a couple of photos, and it looked like everyone was having a blast. So I'm glad you took the plunge. You did the epic road trip. Got to hang out and visit with folks. And what was your one big takeaway where you're like, if you had to say like what was something that surprised you about either the conference or the party or the people that you weren't expecting?
Well, the people were just as cool as I was expecting. So that was kind of a no-brainer. Maybe the one thing that was interesting most to me was how it felt like a very mature group of people in conversations. Like there wasn't a whole lot of degeneracy going on that I saw, which is, a lot of what happens typically at these conferences. But it was kind of just everyone I was talking to was like, yeah, I'm making this really cool game. And were doing well. So like it was very hopeful for the things I'm excited about in this space right now that seem a little bit, I don't know, glossed over as people are just building them and waiting to release like Runiverse game. So just makes me more excited to play a bunch of sweet games.
I love that in true, traditional crypto market fashion during the conference, the entire market was like sucking eggs, dumping like crazy. Is
Oh
the end
yeah.
of meme coins? It's all over, and I just see people in Denver just having a blast. So I'm like, oh,
Yeah, because we weren't
nice.
looking at the charts at all. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's kind of funny how that goes. So, oh dear. Um, yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear it was healthy and fun, and the things that actually matter about the creative, the work that people are doing in the space and building and stuff was just chugging along like normal. I was chatting with Reptar briefly. Went to like some of the conferences and stuff like that. He said he learned a fair bit. Pardon me. But he said some of the some of the turnouts at the panels for like the actual like boring things in crypto were really really mediocre. Like there was just like you went to some DAO panels and it was just like one or two people just listening to the presenter, and it was kind of sad. But
yeah,
yeah,
that seems like how those usually go. It's like I don't know where you got these presenters from because they have no audience, I guess. It's strange how they're like, we'll talk about DAOs for the thousandth time ever. Like this is exactly what it is because no one at this crypto conference has heard of this very basic structure before. Like, okay, man.
yeah, exactly. But the exciting parts continue to be exciting.
Yeah.
And the longer I spend here in this community, the more I just circle back to the beginning, which is like there's amazing people who want to make amazing art and other creative ideas, and that's really all that matters. And so no matter what rabbit hole I wind up down, that's always what comes back. Is like let's just make fun, creative, interesting stuff and build it together. So glad to
Yes,
hear
sir.
that was happening. I received your lovely Bread Friend bundle when I was down in Chicago, which was great.
Awesome.
Yeah, and this weekend I'm actually leaving tomorrow to head out to Edmonton for a big show. This will be Bread Friend's debut on the face-to-face games prize wall. So people will be able to, Magic players everywhere will be able to take a Bread Friend home with them after fawning over mine for all these last several weeks. I'm very excited to have something
That
to share.
is
And
very exciting.
it was super fun. There was definitely a handful of people who picked one up in Chicago because I just like put them out right away because I couldn't help myself. And they were like, "What is this?" I was like, "It's your Bread Friend." And they're like, "Yes, it is. I'll take one home with me." Fantastic.
Splendid. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, while I've got you up here, you want to give me a hand with the Cult Content Chronicle?
Sure, why not? Let me go find it.
Let me share it off. Get you in your DMs here. Boop, 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 boop. Bam. There you go. Yeah, we'll do as we do every week at this time, the Cult Content Chronicle, compiled by
The illustrious.
Tanya Del Rio every damn week.
Oh yeah.
For those who've been living under a wizard rock or maybe tuning in for the first time, the Cult Content Chronicle is a weekly publication that Tanya puts together. This week is week number 111, which I was musing is only the second palindrome since we were in single digits of Cult Content. We had one 10 weeks ago at 101, and now we get one again at 111. So
That's
yay,
a lot of weeks.
palindrome. It's a lot of weeks. It's a lot of weeks. And we had some pretty fun stuff. We had the culmination. We have seen teases of this, but this is our first full look at the final piece. SPZ shared this outstanding piece by Ozma Bro
Incredible.
I can't believe it. It's called Convergence. I love it when artwork has a name. That just makes it seem so cool and official. And this is just this is like all of SPZ's favorite wizard, or some of his favorite wizards, I suppose. It couldn't be all. But it's got this sort of hieroglyphics sort of vibe to it that is just so striking. And the level of detail and the layers involved are just magic, just pure magic. So if you haven't had an opportunity, I just go have a browse, check this one out. I got to talk to SPC about this piece because I want it, like, I want a giant poster. You know what I mean? Like, I want this on my wall. Cool. It's magic. It's magic. All right. You want to do the evens? I'll do the odds.
Sure. All right. So next up, we have a illustration of Sharon's Carly of the Surf by Acid Eater, which is awesome. Funded by the Council of the Arts. A little cat on her shoulder, very adorable. And I think I saw Acid talking about this being one of the first, like, in a while, illustrations she's done that's not been in pixel art. So very fun to see some new styles.
Yeah, Acid was talking about how fun it is to stretch her artistic legs beyond the 50 by 50 pixel frame.
Yeah, you get stuck in there sometimes. I get it.
Yeah. And I was talking with Sharon about Carly because she was like, "Be careful, she's a real bitch." I was like, "All right." So this is Sharon's pirate character. So watch out for the bitchy pirate.
All right, fair enough.
On to number 3, Tad Major produced a new epic Tadimation. I love that we have a verb for when things get Tadimated now. What? And the Forgotten Council wasn't following Tad Major? Well, now we are. So this Tadimation is Sage Dante of the Heavens, and I'm not sure. This is Shar Khan. This is a new Ronin community member's wizard, I suppose. And yeah, it's a really fun little piece. Is, I guess, how he got his. This is the story of how Sage Dante got his bear helmet, or his his cool. Bear hood. Yep. Yeah, it's got some good music in there as well.
Alrighty, well, more from Tad Major. A Daniela illustration of his wizard, his frog wizard, his double frog wizard, who looks incredible here. I love Daniela's style. So many lines, so creepy and wonderful. Those like cloudy eyes in both the frogs. I don't know what's going on with them, but I feel like I wouldn't want to see them in a dark alley. But that's incredible.
No, I have to use your computer.
All right. Oh, sorry. I mean, this is one of the things that makes me so joyful about this community. We've got Tad doing artwork for a new community member. We've got Daniela doing artwork for Tad. Like, this is the wheel that keeps turning. We've got Daniela also doing artwork for Tanya Del Rio, bringing Magus Chio of the Hills to life. It seems like it's a work in progress, and it looks like it's part of the same comic with Tad. It looks like this is the same panel, yeah, with just some color added at this point. So very excited. I don't know.
Is gonna be insane.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know anything about this comic. I feel like I've been witnessing its birth and its evolution over literally a year plus. And I cannot wait to actually get my hands on it. It looks like it's going to be true magic.
Very cool. Oh, yes, all of these illustrations by Sai7. The first one is Tanya's mage, Magus Chio of the Hills. Same wizard here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have been seeing all these in size 7. There's a bunch more in the, I guess, coming up. But love this like adorable anime illustration style.
The cool thing about Psy doing these is they've been cranking them out. You know,
Oh
like
yeah,
you
it's
know,
like
they
5 or
got
6 in a day.
yeah, just you know, Mystic Willow of the Brambles from Chuck. This is a legendary wizard. She was in one of the actual Forgotten Runes comic panels.
Oh yeah,
Or stories, sorry, not just panels. She was like one of the main characters. I think in issue 2 of the comic? Question mark.
I
So
think so.
yeah,
1 or 2 with Orvis, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and the little girl who takes the donuts out into the forest. It's a good,
Yeah.
good comment. So yeah, cool to see yet another inspiring version of Willow.
Oh, and one of Wild Mage. Nice. Love me some good Wild Mage art.
And then right over to the Heretic, as always, because Sai just wouldn't stop, just cranking these out nonstop. So Malevolence Heretic.
And another for a Pumpkin Wizard, Geomancer Peepo. Cabinet of Curiosity. V-Mark?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's both VMark and Cabinet of Curiosities, two separate accounts.
Yeah.
But it is in fact this is VMark's new Pumpkinhead Wizard, sort of his grail that he picked up pretty recently.
Yeah,
actually.
super cool.
Pretty polished. Number 11. Thanks so much to Sai for doing that. I saw those flooding in, and I think I've got to mine didn't get hit, so I'm gonna have to reach out to Sai and get a proper commission because those are so fun. I definitely want to be included.
Yes, agreed.
Shadow is at it again, making comics, which is pretty fun.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I actually haven't read this yet, but I love a good little Shadow. A couple of panels. We saw this sort of work in progress last week, and it's pretty fun to see it live and rolling now. So, yeah.
Looks like there's a soul in this one. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Magus. That's Angus.
Oh yeah,
like Code Nino's
Code
soul.
Nino's?
Yeah,
very cool. Ooh, we have an illustration of your Goblin Arcole in BRVS style. Oh, that's so fun. I saw these coming out last week.
Yep. I reached out to BRVS replied to Bear Snake's because Bear Snake did that sort of wizard giveaway where he was giving away a wizard, and that was where as a community got introduced to BRVS. When he didn't win, I reached out to him. I was like, "Yo, man, I'm gonna slide you a warrior if you want to do me. I'll pay you in trade if you want to do a commission for me." So He got Arkle and Rusty, the pirate duo here. And I got him to throw his signature on them. I was like, buddy, you gotta let people know who you are.
Oh yeah, definitely. Very cool. I might have to get one of those too.
Yep. So he floored the warrior I gave him, but that's fine. Artist got to eat. I'm not too upset about it.
All good.
And then this just warmed my heart. So, part of what I mailed down to Denver was 432 cult content trading card packs. It's like an outer case, 12 booster boxes.
Nice.
And I hoped that they would just wind up in the hands of random people. And super top secret, who's someone I'd never met before, never knew online, somehow got a hold of one of these packs, and him and their friend cracked one and
wait, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like this is exactly what these cards were meant to do, is bring the artwork that this community has put so much love and labor into over the years.
This is incredible, Meeple.
It's so fun, man. Like they're like, I don't know what any of this stuff is, but it's really
David
cool.
Of Moo, or is it
yeah,
some Illusionist David in there. I haven't watched this yet. Oh, nice. Got a Black Mage.
Yeah. It's just so fun watching people crack these packs, man. Like and some people, really get excited about it. Some people have no idea what's going on.
He got a Trudy neutral.
I know. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. And I'm so excited to see people appreciating these cards. In watching this video, I realized that this pack was actually like there was actually a pack error. There was an error in this pack because there should be two map cards, but for some reason there's only one. So they got like a misprint.
Nice. Dude's got a rare pack.
with less stuff, it's just missing a card.
Yeah. So cool.
Anyway, but they got a bread friend, so it all makes up for it.
Yeah, they got Kobold Soda, bread friend, they're stacked. Number 14, we've got Rune's TCG is migrated to Ronin, which is awesome. Very excited for those to be on the same network as all of the Runiverse stuff. We'll see how other Ronin migration goes with other projects involved in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I understand the Heroes of Cumberland are theoretically picking up and moving camp as well.
That's being heavily considered currently.
All right. Yeah, I was honestly really excited to see this for Runes. I was chatting with Givahoot months ago about how he should be reaching out to the Ronin team and Sky Mavis and trying to plead the case as to why they should give him a grant to get this moved over. So I don't know if he got a grant or if they're helping him out in some way, or if he's just doing it on his own with the help of Bill and the other builders in the space who know about these things. But it's really exciting to see, because I think one of the challenges of Rune's TCG is it's kind of on an island right now. It's on the Polygon island.
Right.
If we can move it over to Ronin, where XP is going to be, and where so many of our community members are, where people are used to spending.
People participating in the IP are already over there anyway, so perfect plan.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good. So I'm really excited to see it. I hope it does wonders for the game. People may not remember this, but like 2 years ago when we started running Rune's TCG tournaments in February, I think the War of the Rose, like the first tournament, I think it was February 2023, right after base set launch of Rune's TCG. We had like 121 players in that tournament or something. It was massive. It was so many people. Yeah, exactly. And it's really, people came and they checked it out and they tried it, which was great. But we've struggled. Now it's really just the core diehards, and so moving to Ronin hopefully will give us an influx of new gamers who are already used to doing things on blockchain. So really excited. Hopefully that works out really well. I'm pumped.
I'm gonna have to start my streams with a couple games of Rune's TCG. I think that's a good plan. I've been playing recently, and it's a great game, so I have to get back to it, especially now it's on Ronin.
So I'll tell you, this is like me and because one of the great things about Rune's TCG is it's really easy for kids to play, and so me and the 6-year-old and the 4-year-old have started playing as like our bedtime game. We've been playing last couple of nights. We've been just playing physical Rune's TCG cards on the floor in the game room. It's been pretty great, and my 4-year-old has like no concept of the strategy, and she doesn't at all care if she wins or loses. She's just excited about putting the cards on the table and flipping over the tokens. So It's super fun. Yeah, it's just adorable. It's a ton of fun. So, yeah. And let's see, number 15 in the Chronicle is the Bread Ventures. I've started trying to get a little artistic with the, because I've been it's fun when I'm out on the road. It's easy to take fun Bread Venture pictures, but yeah, when I'm home, just try to get some good lighting in there, switch it up a little, and just a little home life. So Bread Ventures continue.
Adorable. I love it. Number 16 on Monday Magic News, or just Monday Magic. The co-host was Tater.eth, which I don't think I know much about them. So I guess I'll have to check out that recording and learn more about them.
Yeah, Tater is, I don't know if he's an IRL friend of Henboyd and Wild Mage, but he's new. He's officially joined the team. He's sort of dove in head first to the cult in the last couple of weeks. He's got this really cool soul you may have seen with like the Canaanite head, the burned Canaanite head.
Oh, okay. I have seen him on the timeline. Okay, yeah, I recognize that.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, super cool guy. Definitely, Always fun to see a little bump of excitement happen on MMN. And the 100th episode 100th episode is coming up soon. So definitely you're gonna want to keep tuning in to these Monday Magic Newses, because they're pulling out all the stops for episode 100. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be a blast. And then Tanya reminds everybody, I called this to tune in for Wizard Wednesday, as we always do. I had a little fun making a hungover frat party, the East Denver hangover wizard party. That's us here today. So thank you, Tanya, as always, for putting this outstanding project together. Wednesdays wouldn't be the same without the Chronicle, and it honestly is. Last week Wizard Wednesday went a little crazy. We didn't really have time. We were busy. I had to take the dog to the vet, but we got on and we at least read the Chronicle, because that's something everyone needs to hear. So really excited. Thanks so much for doing it. Pleasure to read it as always. Feckless, you got any other final words of wisdom for our wizards out there?
Drink lots of water, and remember, if you have an oven, you can just bake stuff.
I saw you baking. What were you baking up?
I made some matcha dark chocolate muffins, which were delicious and are entirely gone now.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, we've got some bananas that were should have been eaten 2 or 3 days ago. So I think we're gonna take your advice, sir. Yeah, I'm gonna take your advice. Good awesome. Plan. Well, this has been Meeple Dad and Feckless helping you get through your Wednesday, channeling out from the Quantum Downs. Well, this has been Wizard Wednesday.
Stay magic, y'all.
Stay magic.
Every stride in this new Pangaea where we abide, our journeys etched in forgotten runes, guided by the light of distant moons. Ride those metro ponies through the steampunk fields and past the old cronies, with a wizard's wand and a warrior's might. We're chasing the dawn, riding into the night. So here's to the legends, the stories untold in the vast Runiverse where future and past unfold. Riding on mecha ponies under the cosmic light, singing our songs, lost in the endless night. Ride those mecha ponies through the halls of white wizard ceremonies, with the wizard's wit and warrior's brawn. We ride through night and into the dawn. Ride. Ride, ride, let's ride.